Welcome to beautiful Bled in Slovenia for the Nissan X-Trail launch. Now, the X-Trail is a really interesting one because this thing has sold 7 million examples worldwide. It is a really popular car, what Nissan refers to as a family adventure vehicle, which I rather like. It's a bit sweeter than, SUV, isn't it? So, all new Nissan X-Trail. Now, the really interesting thing about this car is the powertrains. It's got a 1.5 litre petrol mild hybrid. That starts at around about £32,000 in the UK. The interesting thing is the e-Power powertrain, which is what we are driving here today. And what that does, that's got a 1.5 litre petrol engine as well, but that only ever charges the batteries. There is no actual drive from that petrol engine, and it is the electric motor that drives the car. You can get a four-wheel drive one as well, which has an electric motor on the front axle and the rear axle, which is what we're driving today. So you get the e-Force as well as the e-Power. And by the time you're looking at those cars, you're looking at more like sort of mid-40s, sort of £45,000 and even a little bit more. You can also, however, get the e-Power X-Trail with 7 seats, which makes this one of very few alternatives in the more affordable large 7-seat SUV classes that can get an electrified powertrain. So there is going to be a lot of interest in this because people are going to be looking at it thinking it could be a cheap company car, it's going to be really efficient, and you get 7 seats, plus it's an X-Trail, so it's dependable and comfortable and all of that stuff. So really intrigued to try the powertrain and find out if it lives up to those expectations. But first, let's have a quick look around, because obviously it being a family adventure vehicle, inside and the practicality of it is really key. All right, so boot space in the new X-Trail. You're talking about 585 litres when it's in 5-seat mode. It is optional to have 7 seats, by the way. This is a 7-seater. And there you go, look, I've got my bag in there so you can see, for some reference, it's pretty big actually. And it's not too bad for load height as well. So if you've got a big dog that's going to kind of be jumping in, that's kind of not bad, I must say. I think it's a pretty good thing. And also, not much underfloor storage, I will give you that. But let's get those rear seats up and see what they're like. Because I think in terms of boot capacity, for a 7-seater particularly, that's pretty good. Right, so I'm going to have a go at sitting in the rear seats of the Nissan X-Trail. I've not done this yet, by the way, so it's sort of a topple and slide job. Oh. Predictably, you've got to be a little bit dexterous to get into the back seats. There you go, look. The problem is you're going to have to slide those back a bit, aren't you, to get anybody in the middle row. It's not too bad, though, as long as you're sort of an average height adult. I mean, let's face it, it's going to be the kids back here, isn't it? This is the thing. If you're a tall adult, you're going to feel really squished back here, but it's not that bad. There's even actually a little bit of foot space underneath these middle seats. So, do you know what? I think that's pretty good. You've even got little cup holders and things, so that's fine. I don't think that's too bad for what are going to be, I expect, probably mostly occasional rear seats. Certainly, I've got the kind of lifestyle where sometimes you want to get the grandparents in and your kids and whatnot, and these kind of cars are just absolutely perfect for that. As for the middle row, look at that effortless grace. There we go, look. We'll get in here. I would add, the tan leather in this car probably isn't coming to the UK. We're probably going to have a slightly darker interior. I don't know if I'm a bit sad about that. I quite like the tan leather. So these slide, 4.5. They've got quite a big slide as well. They'll go a long way. But I mean, with them in their normal sort of position like that, can I use this as an armrest? I can, look at that. I've got a little phone holder and 2 cup holders. Perfect. Do you know what? I quite like it in here. It's pretty comfy. This has got the panoramic glass roof. It's all very nice. And I don't know if these are optional or not yet, to be honest. I've not seen specific UK specs. These are always good if you've got kids. It just feels like very spacious and pretty practical, actually. I rather like it. As for up front in the X-Trail, it's fairly straightforward. I really like the fact that the aircon buttons, just standard. So rotary dials, turn it off and on. Great, really like that. Other than that, it still feels fairly minimal. You're not overwhelmed with buttons. You've got all your dynamic stuff down here. As for the touchscreen, it pretty much has everything you want to do on there, including your CarPlay and your Android Auto, of course. You swipe across, it's all using sort of mobile phone kind of inspired user interface. I don't think that Nissan's graphics are up there with others in this class, but I still think it's one of the easier to use. It's not bad. It's kind of got what you need. And it looks pretty smart on this nice big kind of panoramic screen. Let's go out and have a drive and see what the e-Power Nissan X-Trail is like on the road. this is an interesting thing. So like I said, the 1.5 litre petrol engine never actually powers the wheels on this car. It's literally functioning as a generator for the battery, which is then powering the electric motor, which is turning the wheels. So it's a bit of a hard one to sort of get your head around, especially because in terms of the pure electric driving, which you can force the car into with the EV mode down here, you only get a couple of miles absolute max, and that's even in sort of quite slow stuff around town. But do you know what? The result, I think, is quite good. 90% of the time, I really rather like the fact that it does feel quite smooth and serene on the motorway, around town, on sort of normal, steady roads. I really like it. I think it's exactly what you want from a Nissan X-Trail. You know, this the family adventure vehicle needs to be quiet, comfy, nice and sort of stable and secure, and that's exactly what it is. And I like the fact that this powertrain, so the e-Power, to be honest, in practice, it's much more like a full hybrid, like you get in the Toyota Prius to drive. It's that sort of same concept even, because it's a very small battery which is constantly being charged by the regenerative braking and by the, of course, the sort of the generator that is the little petrol engine. And that's what's keeping the battery topped up and giving you the electric power to actually drive the wheels. And as such, you get a very smooth, linear sort of acceleration. And I would say, because there's no gearbox as such, I think it doesn't quite suffer from the same habit of over-revving that those full hybrids have. That, you know, the Toyota cars like the RAV4 that would be a rival for the X-Trail, that they do suffer from a little bit. Unless, I mean, to be honest, if you're on a, you know, a really twisty road like we are now, like I said, out in absolutely stunning Slovenia, to be honest, it does moo a bit if you want any performance out of it. So this is the four-wheel drive. It's got, which has got an extra electric motor on the back axle, of course. So it's got a 100 kilowatt electric motor at the back, 150 kilowatt at the front, a combined power, I believe, of 201 brake horsepower. And so it's fast enough. Doesn't need to be really fast. And to be honest, it's just very nice and serene to drive. It's not you don't really want to encourage it to drive quickly at all, but it's just nice. Chilled, safe, secure, mostly quiet, unless you do ask for a really heavy burst of acceleration, and then it kind of moves away a bit, and that's fine. What I'm more interested in, really, is the efficiency that this offers, because that's the whole point of this powertrain, isn't it? Is that you have it because it's an efficient option. And it does flick into electric power mode quite often, not when you're, you know, accelerating up a big hill like we are right now. I just don't think it's really delivering the kind of economy I'd expect. So we did a route earlier which was mostly motorway and a bit of town stuff, and even then it was still doing about sort of 41, 42 mpg. So I think, you know, 45 mpg and up is going to be perhaps you know, what you're going to get on a good day. And it has to be said, the WLTP suggests that that's the case as well, because even the official figures put it at about 45 mpg-ish, depending on what variant you have. And CO2 is more like, you know, around 130. And I just think, is that good enough? I mean, when you can get, you know, plug-in hybrid RAV4s and things, and I just don't know that that's going to get the company car buyers that probably might be looking for an electrified big family SUV like this often, and retail buyers, maybe they're going to want better MPG. I don't know. I'm a little bit on the fence about whether this powertrain is ultimately efficient enough to kind of justify itself. I don't mind the powertrain at all in itself. I just wish that it were a little more economical in the real world. I don't know that we're seeing it in its best light right now, because I don't think that X-Trails are really made for kind of really nice sweeping mountain roads. And you can hear that little engine kind of like heaving away in the background a bit. Honestly, 90% of the time it's been really smooth and quiet, very quiet. So I think that was maybe a bit unfortunate for the X-Trail there. I genuinely like the way it drives most of the time. Nice predictable steering, ride's really decent. Little bit lumpy around town, but generally really pretty good. I think Nissan have got it well judged in that respect. I don't mind the interior either. I think it all feels really nicely finished. Bit smarter than the last one. Not quite up there with the Aria, but I don't think you need that sort of level of poshness, do you? As long as you've got your CarPlay and Android Auto on a decent screen, and all the actual fit and finish feels pretty smart, actually. So overall, genuinely quite impressed with the X-Trail. I like it. If you can get the money to stack up, that's the crux of it, isn't it? I'm just uncertain whether I can't figure out that it's efficient enough to justify itself. But if you think that this sort of economy is going to suit you, and if you think that you can get a monthly finance deal that's going to suit your budget, and you're after a big car like this, Nissan's got a good history of doing decent monthly finance. So if you can get one of these cheaper than you can a Sorento and a Santa Fe and this kind of stuff, or if you maybe prefer the way this drives, I could understand why you might actually, then I'd say go for it. I really rather like it. Don't forget to head to cargurus.co.uk for a whole host of fantastic used cars, lots of Nissan X-Trails, I'm sure, of the previous generation. And while we've got you, please do like this video, subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel, and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of our videos.